we are in our Google Hangouts class today, and we're going to be talking about, are customers always right? That's something that they say in the United States all the time, but is it really true? So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at today. It's a reading activity, and then we have some vocabulary questions, and then if time, we have some discussion questions as well. So because we have two people in the class, looks like those two people will be reading today, which is great, and hopefully they're okay with that. So before we get started, what do you think about, are customers always right? Do you think that's true? Do you agree with it? How do you feel? What's your experience of this?
I don't think nobody is always right. Absolute power, absolute collapse. So, yeah, sometimes. And talking about customer service here, maybe it was now it's becoming worse because companies' profit is shrinking and competition is harsh. So price itself could be cheaper than ever because of such harsh competition, globalized competition. But the after sales service itself is decreasing. Company require more and more to the customer. Just the problem. So, but some customers' attitude is not good actually. They just scold the kind of the company's staff. So I talked with several people who work in the customer service center. They had a huge stress about that. So I try to be rational, calm, even though I'm complaining about something to customer center. That's my attitude nowadays.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a saying in the United States that the customer is always right. So apparently they don't have that in Japan.
Yeah, the Panasonic, the founder of Panasonic says, customer is God. It's almost like almighty kind of thing. So that's kind of commercial philosophy. It continues to Japanese companies, but I think it's a kind of the changing point because of this globalization kind of thing.
Okay.
So, but still, I think customer service here not so bad, not too bad. And some customers are not good actually, as I said. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, that's great. Well, Elle, I'll ask you as you were next in the room. So, Elle, what do you think? I mean, having lived in Thailand and living in the United States now, what do you think about this saying, customers are always right?
Yes, if I'm talking about as the owners of the business, I think there are quite similar between Thailand and here because as a owners of the business, sometimes you have to, of course, customer is not always right, but if you are in the owner of business position, you have to swallow some truth about that because of if you want to do the business, you have to like overcome that issue because of if you have to if you are a customer, you want the business treat you treat you what you want, and then your business will be get success, right? Because of if you treat them bad, it's gonna be mouth to mouth, and then the business will be get hurt. So yeah, it's just important for the people who do in the business.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, thanks, Elle. And we have a new joiner today. Let me see. Selvistun, is that how you pronounce your name? If you'd like to unmute yourself, and you can tell us where you're from, if you would like. I did write in the chat box to you as well. Just wait a second here. Sometimes it takes a little bit to unmute themselves. Selvistun? No? Maybe I'll unmute you and see if I can get you to talk there. Hold on. Muted. I can't unmute you apparently. So, okay, that's fine. We will continue with the original class then. So I will share my screen and you can see the article that I have. Let's see here. There it is. I'll go ahead and share this with you. So, is the customer always right? All right. So this is the little article that I have today. It's not very long, especially the big font. So, fantastic. So, Ken, why don't you read the first little paragraph, okay?
Okay. Is the customer always right? With many European economies showing slow growth, the retail sector is coming under increasing pressure to improve its service and cater more for consumer demand.
Okay, fantastic. So, so this is more of a European article here, but obviously this might, be similar in other countries as well. So, any questions? Anything? And you can ask me about words, any phrases that you don't understand, or just the general meaning, okay? Like I said,
Cater in this context.
Yeah.
Cater is basically care for or take care of. Cater in the United States, for example, is, I get catering for food. So someone brings food for me to a specific place. So this is basically take care of and things like that.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions before we move on?
Nope.
Okay, all right. So this is this is for natives. It's not for, low levels or intermediate levels or high levels. And native English is a little bit more challenging with the fact that, we use kind of maybe words like cater that you don't really know. I don't think I've ever taught that word actually in any of my English classes. And so yes, if you do have any questions about anything, just go ahead and ask. So, Elle, would you like to read this next paragraph? It's a little bit longer, but that's okay. Hopefully, we can kind of work out everything in the end here.
Okay, sure. Okay. Is the customer always right? The answer, it seems, depends on which country you are in. Shopping is very much a part of a country's cultures, and attitudes to shopping and consumers vary from country to country just as much as climates or taste in food. From the air-conditioned odors of American malls to the anarchy of African bazaars, the way we shop shows the way we see ourselves and our relationships with other people.
Okay, good. So, any questions here? So this is the beginning of, kind of getting us into the whole situation here. It depends where you're living, okay? And I would definitely agree with that. So, any comments about this paragraph before we continue?
Yeah. How about to the anarchy of African bazaars?
African bazaars. Bazaars basically just means like market, okay?
Oh.
in this case. There is a different word. It's spelled differently. It's bizarre, and that means strange. But in this case, it just means that it's a market. So the anarchy in this case would be kind of American Mall. So the anarchy of kind of like the action, not the action, how it is. Okay, so it says the air-conditioned order of American malls. So American malls are air-conditioned to the anarchy, maybe the craziness, the, lots of people, the heat in African bazaars. So it's kind of the way it is. Does that make sense?
Sure. Thanks.
Okay.
Maybe the word anarchy, it doesn't mean, originally it means, the society without government. Kind of political term, but in this case, metaphysically, maybe chaos, probably.
Right, kind of like the maybe free flowing, the craziness.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions? All right then. So let me move this down. All right, so next paragraph. Fantastic. Chaos. Oops, maybe I should, sorry, can I just saw that? Let me move this back up then. The chaos is it's the craziness as well, and I'm not finding, is this? Is chaos in here, Ken?
Sorry, I just typed, maybe
like
metaphysically that anarchic situation express such kind of chaotic situation.
All right, yeah, I'm between windows here. I'm between the Hangouts and then the actual PDF, so
Okay.
I'm a little bit behind on your comments, so sorry. Yes, I agree with that. Perfect. So let's see. Selvesting didn't respond to my question or anything about reading, so maybe he's just listening for today. So Ken, would you like to? Oh, and he's gone. So maybe he was uncomfortable. So Ken, why don't you go ahead and read the next paragraph, please?
Okay. Recent economic hardship has given the consumer increased power in Europe as retailers fight to win their share of reduced disposable income. This has meant falling prices, plenty of special offers, and re-examination of what customer service really means. People often point to American as an example of sophisticated customer service. In restaurants in the south of the USA, for example, waiters compliment you on your clothes, ask about your day, compliment you on the wisdom of your order, and then return every 10 minutes to refill your glass and make sure that everything is to your satisfaction.
Okay, fantastic. And this is actually true. I was a waitress in the United States for 10 years, 9 or 10 years, and I can absolutely agree with this. And here in Spain, it is completely opposite. Obviously, depending on the type of restaurant you go to, but normally it's you get your food and you pay your bill, and that's the only interaction you actually have with, a waiter or something like that. So absolutely, completely different.
Yeah, I agree. Let me say something about this paragraph.
Yeah.
Because over here, when I learn a lot of things about the customer service, I'm so impressed because this is just far away from Thailand. I mean the service, like if you buy something, like if you don't like it, you can return it within 30 days, and if you get something and there is a damage and everything, the customer always right over here. I'm so impressed. In USA, the system over here is just can't believe it. I love it.
Well, I actually appreciate that comment, and that's just because I think Americans, when we go abroad, we actually have this negativeness attached to us that we want everything done perfectly, and we're very loud or whatever. But we're actually, this is normal for us. You go to a restaurant, you give or get great service, and if you're a customer, you pay a good tip, and if you're the waiter, you get a good tip. And so, you really kind of help everybody out. And I've gotten some really good tips from people, and maybe when I didn't think I should have, or when I thought I could have done more. But you really do. I mean, we work for tips basically. Our hourly wage is very little. So I definitely appreciate that, Al. Thanks.
Yeah.
Americans aren't seen as super fantastic all the time, so to hear that is really nice. And
it's just sometimes my husband said, okay, when he get retired, he want to go back to Thailand because he's Thai too, and I said, okay, I just hesitate to because everything here is just what should I say? I cannot compare to my country.
Okay.
I love the system over here.
Good. Well, that's. I'm actually proud to be an American right now. So good. No, we really do. We try our best, and I think, and that's why we want perfection always. When we go places, and in the United States, if your food isn't cooked correctly, just give it right back, and no problem. Here, don't eat it. You'll pay for it, but just don't eat it. But I'm paying for something and I can't eat it. And like, no, that's how it is over here. And I think, gosh, that's not, or if there's a piece of hair in your food here, you just ignore it and, either keep eating or stop eating, but you pay for it. And, working in restaurants, there's a hair in your food, we have to take that off your bill. That's the, the business's, kind of rule. So sanitation laws are a lot better, I think, in the United States than here in Spain. Not saying anything against Spanish sanitation laws or anything, but as an American, I definitely can see some differences. So, so the States, definitely we have high expectations, want the best for everybody. So, good. Any other comments? Ken,
I've experienced in American Southern restaurant in Georgia. Service is like that, and I heard the maybe basic salary of waiter and waitress is not so high, so not paying tip is rude in America. So I try not to forget about that. Actually, there's no tip custom here, so waiter and waitress is come to the table. But they don't ask. Usually, they don't, compliment my clothes or watch or something like that. Just bring the food. That's it. And maybe they create more human touch to customers. And maybe because of the tip, also because of the culture, the Thailand hospitality kind of thing. When I get on a bus, city bus, bus driver said to me, "Oh, I like your watch." I've never heard, Japanese bus driver, compliment, the customer's watch. Maybe it's part of the culture there.
Well, in Georgia, they have the southern charm too, so I'm sure that's a little bit more so, a little bit more normal for them. As a waitress in Wisconsin, I don't think I really ever complimented anybody that I didn't know. So, or maybe, if I liked something that they were wearing or, something, but not normally. So I think this might depend where you live exactly. And you're right, my highest salary for a waitress, well, it depends. I shouldn't say this is everybody, but the average for a family restaurant in the United States is about $2.50 or $2.33 an hour. I think is the minimum pay for waitresses and waiters. But then I worked at a different place that I got maybe $8 an hour, or plus tips. So it just depends where you work, and so good. Perfect. Well, it sounds like we can move on to the next part here, and I believe, Al, it's your turn.
Okay.
So
Sure.
there you are, the first paragraph.
Okay. Anyone who has waited 30 minutes to be served in a restaurant might well dream of such attentions, but do Europeans really want US-style service? As a friend of mine once told me, by the end of the evening, I had spent as much time talking to waiters as to my wife. It is a question of expectations. Different nationalities expect different types of service. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Did you
true.
want to comment on that, Elle?
Uh, not not yet.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. I have heard that maybe sometimes, waiters and waitresses are annoying, and if they come back too often, we need some more time the people who are eating, and it depends. The waiter or waitress has to kind of understand the situation of, okay, they just sat down and one person got something to drink, but not the other person, so, when do I go back? Or, in the United States, I would say people are rather impatient when it comes to ordering food because of the normal good service that they get. And so, you kind of have to, check out the person and see how they are and things like that too. So there's more than just, food. It's the waiter's opinion, and there's been mistakes sometimes where I forgot to put in food orders because I was so busy. So yes, there's lots of things to think about there. It's a little bit of a puzzle sometimes. So good. Elle or Ken, did you want to comment on that? Have either of you been to Europe?
I think the expectation. Sometimes the American Japanese restaurants offer definitely the American style of Japanese food. So how can I say it? If I ordered set menu, usually in Japanese restaurants, bring all of the food, soup, main food, rice, and pickles that in the same plate at the same time. But in American restaurants, I ordered lunch set menu. They bring maybe miso soup at the beginning, like cold course dinner kind of thing. So I felt that kind of cultural difference. But it's good actually because I was very curious about how Japanese food arranged in American way or in the restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it gives you more time to eat everything. And here we get tapas, and so it's all of a sudden, tapas are small, so you get 3, 4, 5 tapas, and all of a sudden one comes, and then the next, and then the next. Like, I have to hurry up and eat. So I feel more pressure here than, if I got one kind of big plate, or I got my soup, and then waited, until I finished my soup to get the other part of the meal. So.
Yes,
Good.
I have some questions from this paragraph.
Okay.
It means like European people, they don't have a good service as a US country.
Correct.
Oh,
At least
really?
here in Spain, again, it depends on the type of restaurant, but the majority of the restaurants here in Spain, at least where I live, are tapas restaurants, and so you'll have probably 1 or 2 cooks. You'll have normally a bartender person and then 1 waiter for a restaurant with many, many people in it. And so there's a lot more waiting. There's no real, if you don't come to me in the first 2 minutes and get a drink order, I'm going to leave. Absolutely not. I think people would wait easily 15, 20 minutes before they're not served to leave. And that's just unheard of in the United States.
How about in Germany and Germany or Netherlands or something like this? They don't have the good service as American.
I was in Germany, but a long time ago, and I can't remember exactly. It's a good question for Thomas, which unfortunately he's not here. But that would be a good question for him, and to see kind of what their regular, because it does depend. Maybe in a bigger city, you get more kind of American style restaurants and things like that. So it definitely depends. Like I said, here where I live, it's about a town of 30-some thousand people, and so it's not too big and very, very Spanish, I might say. And so a lot of the things are just normal Spanish tapas. There's an American restaurant here, and it's supposedly owned by an American. I did go. It wasn't bad. But again, Ken, like you said, it's kind of like your own food in the eyes of, people in this country. Even if, he is American, it's still got a little bit of, I wasn't super impressed being an American. So I think there's things he could have done a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. But the service was similar to the United States, and so I could see that difference.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as far as other countries here in Europe, honestly, it depends. I mean, I know in Belgium, more fancy restaurants, yes, would have the same kind of U.S. style. Here in Spain, the more formal restaurants, yes, have a very similar kind of service style, but in general, no.
How about tip? How many percent tip usually customer pay in Spain?
Tips here, we don't need to leave. If you leave something, it could be anywhere from 10 to 50, 60 cents. You would never, even an expensive meal, you wouldn't leave €5 for anything. Even if you had a €50 bill, I would never leave a €5 tip. I would probably leave €1 or two at with a bill of €50.
I have some question for you, Rebecca. Okay, you said you used to be waitress before.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you something about because this is I don't have experience about tips when I was in Thailand, but when I came here, I have some problem with I was a waitress when I came here too, because I study and then I have a part-time job as a waitress. But from my experience, I think if people take away buying like a what do you call takeaway?
Takeaway.
Takeaway, and then
to go.
Because to go. Okay. Because in San Francisco, I used to live there. Most of people, they don't pay tip if they order to go.
To go, that's not normal. And sometimes I know people would say, "Hey, we'll give this to the chefs," instead of leaving a tip for the waiter or waitress. Because they really don't do much. You have to take the order on the phone probably or in person, and there's really not much as that you would do as a waitress to kind of do that. So some people do say for the chef.
And then when I here over here, even I order to go, they asking for tip. They give me the receipt, and then they write it down. They ask me tip. Ask me a tip. I just confused. Should I pay tip for to go, or should I not?
If it's a to-go order, like you're ordering the to-go order, you're saying?
Yeah, I order to go by phone, and then when I pick up, because of the first time I didn't pay tip, because my understanding is it's okay for me if I order to go and don't tip. Yeah, because I have experience in San Francisco. So the second time they asked me to pay tip, same restaurant.
They asked you to pay it?
Yeah.
Was it a restaurant chain or just a regular kind of mom and pop?
No, I think it's a chain restaurant.
Can I ask which one it is?
Oh, I just don't want to say that. But
okay, that's fine.
They give me the receipt, and they ask me. They write it down at the receipt.
Is it like, for example, it says 10% of a tip would be X amount and 15% would be X amount? Is it that?
They didn't say how much, but they asked me to pay tip.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just weird.
They verbally asked you.
Not verbally. She wrote it down on the receipt.
As it like handwritten, or was it printed out on the
No,
receipt?
the receipt is printing, but she just she wrote it down on the receipt.
You're not obliged. You do not have to pay a tip if you don't want to, honestly. You know, it's expected that you will get a tip working in a restaurant. As far as to-go orders, I would not agree with that. I don't think it's absolutely necessary at all, honestly. I might, if I were you, look it up online, call maybe the headquarters, or write an email to someone and just say, you know, I went to this store on this street in this town, and they told me they hand wrote on the ticket to leave a tip. I'm just wondering, you know, do I need to leave a tip or something like that? I think that's quite strange. So I would maybe look into that a little bit.
And you know what? This is wrong. My husband, he loved to go, and then after that, I don't want to go and get the food for him. I told him, if you want to get this food from this restaurant, you have to go by yourself. I'm not gonna go there anymore.
Yeah, I would look into it. I would still look into it and see, because if it happens the next time and just say, no, actually I contacted headquarters and they said it's not, you know, I do not have to leave a tip and I don't want to, and you can say that. So
yeah,
freedom of speech.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Sorry.
Yeah, I've heard, you know, the kind of chain store like KFC and McDonald's, such kind of fast food store, you don't need to pay tip. I've heard that in America.
I wouldn't at those stores. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, no, you know, fast food, absolutely not. There's some, maybe a Fazoli's, which is it's kind of fast food, but not. And then there's other chain stores, like I think it's TGI Fridays and things, and they have like pickup windows and things, or drive-ups. Those I might, just because they're a little bit more fancier. I shouldn't say fancy, but they're not just fast food restaurants. So if it was one of those, I might see, but it's a personal decision.
Okay, one more question. Okay. Because when I was a waitress in San Francisco, but not, and then some people, they don't pay like 15, some people pay 10. It depends on them, but not everyone pay 15%.
Correct.
So but sometimes, right now, I pay over here, I pay 15% all the time. I just don't comfortable because I get scared from that restaurant asking me a tip, and then I just try to pay 15% all the time. Can I pay like 10%?
You can pay whatever you feel is appropriate. For example, you get a bill, let's say it's $10 or something, and you are supposed to leave $1.50. Okay, as the 15%. If you feel that the service was not great, you can leave $1. If you feel that it was fantastic, leave $5. You know, it's up to you. In the end, society says 15%. You, as the person, can decide technically what they deserve and what they don't deserve. And I've told my dad, you know, sometimes we go out and he said, well, how much should I leave for a tip? And the bill will be, you know, X amount, and he's supposed to leave maybe $14, and he'll put 15. It's like, you know, she didn't do, or he didn't do that great of a job. There are lots of mistakes, but I'm also, you know, I was a waitress at that time, and so I was also judging. And I've told him, maybe you should leave 13, you know, maybe not 14. Okay. So you can decide. Don't feel bad. You know, there's times that I've gone out and I've left 67 cents because they gave me terrible service. They weren't friendly, you know, and it's, you know, just. It's up to you. Society says one thing, but at the end of the day, you decide.
Yeah, because sometimes if I get a good service, I I happy to pay 20%, 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
most of the time, but I just even I get a bad services, I always pay 15% because I don't want them to like look down.
Well, they actually should learn from that. That's kind of, you, the customer, saying, hey, service could have been better. So it just kind of depends. Maybe they're having a bad day or something, but it's really not your fault. You're paying for the service and it's voluntary. Technically, it's expected, but there are people that do not tip at all ever in the United States too.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that, but you pay whatever understand. Okay, this is 15%. I might leave a little bit less because service wasn't fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. It's okay. That's life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think agents are pretty confusing about this. So almost like an
Yes.
unwritten rule. So yeah, I always afraid of maybe 15%.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yes. That's true. Okay.
Well, hopefully that
funny.
helps. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's up to you. Just understand what the tip should be, and then kind of go from there. So let the 15% be your guide, but don't let it rule you and take over. So good. All right. Well, we need to get back to this article here. So Ken, it was your turn to read, wasn't it?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, I wanted to read the next one.
Okay. A Chinese American friend loves telling people about how her Chinese mother shops for clothes. First of all, she waits until they are on sale. Then she haggles until she gets an even better price, and then she finds some small fault with the product and demands a further reduction. She never buys anything at the regular price. Could you imagine trying such tactics in a department store in your country?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's a little bit extreme. I would never do that.
Yeah, me too.
Me neither. What is
Yeah.
haggles?
Haggles is kind of, Bart, like deal. She says, okay, well, this is $20 on sale. She's like, well, how about 15? No, how about 18? And then, you
There you
you
go.
kind
Bargain.
of haggle with the price. Yeah, you bargain, you kind of look for a better price there. Uh-huh. Good. All right. Well, actually, why don't you read the next part, because I would like to get to some of the vocabulary questions at least, okay?
Okay. Attitudes to service are, of course, affected by employers' attitudes to their workers, as American sales and service personnel are heavily reliant on commissions and tips. They have more incentive to provide more service. But is it fair? Do we think it is fair to ask shop assistants to work late evenings, Sundays, and 12-hour shifts that is fitting with our pictures of society? It might not be a case of is the customers always right, but a case of how much service is it fair to expect.
Okay. Ken, do you have a comment there?
Yeah, definitely. This problem happening here too. Nowadays, a lot some chain stores, beef board store or something, or some supermarket, 24 hours, or convenience store, 24 hours available. And in the extreme case, the chain store offered only one person to run the shop. But it's sometimes a lot of customer even at the midnight or in the early in the morning, so they panic, and in extreme case I've heard 3 consecutive days one guy worked in that restaurant without sleeping. So
Yeah.
that's definitely we need to balance such kind of working condition and service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And, I think at least where I worked in Wisconsin, in some of these places, I could say, hey, I want to work Friday night, or I don't want to work Friday night. There wasn't ever that pressure of, okay, so now that you work with us, you have to be available 24 hours. There was never that expectation, at least, in the restaurants that I worked at. Of course, sometimes Friday nights at 9, 10 o'clock at night, sure, you don't want to be at work, excuse me, anymore. But it goes with the job too, so if you don't want to work until 10 or 11 o'clock on a Friday, just say, you can't work, and then you don't make that money. Everything in life is about compromise, I think. So this is just another example. But, yeah, you do have to be careful of, workers' conditions and things like that, too, and health. You can't work for 3 days straight without sleeping.
Yeah.
That's just not.
Yeah,
Okay.
and another hand, it's gonna hurt their business as well if the owner treat the employees like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not good for them either. And especially if it's a chain restaurant, or even, worse, more of a family restaurant where, a lot of family members work at that same place. It's just not, like Elle, you said before, word of mouth, and it goes very, very far. So,
Yeah.
good. All right, so that was the end of the article. So, any further questions before we look at these words? No, no. All right. Well, let's think of
Sorry,
any word.
commission and tips. What is commission in this sense?
Commission. Basically, if you sell a car, you get maybe a 1% commission, or a 0.5%. So if you sell the car for $10,000, your commission of 1%, was that a grand?
Like
1,000?
margin. Like margin.
It's a percentage of what you sell.
Okay.
For example, the commission happens when you have to sell things yourself. So if I sell insurance, and for every insurance package I sell, they give me a percentage. That's commission.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem. And commission and tips is just the money that people leave. So.
I see.
All right, great. Well, let's move down here. So the ways we think about life. Wish we had a little more time here. This is attitudes. Oops, attitudes. The way we think about life, and I believe this. Actually, I don't remember where these were now, but attitudes. So attitudes. Shopping is very much a part of a country's culture, and attitudes to shopping and customers vary from country to country, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So there's that one. So we'll just have to do this quickly. Good conversation, just now short on time to do this.
Oh, yeah.
So what about complete lack of order? We did talk about this word. Do we remember? When I show you, you'll remember. Anarchy here. So we talked about craziness and being busy. So this is complete lack of order. So it's said differently. Okay. Anarchy. All right. Financial difficulty. This is 2 words. Let's see if I can find this. I'm not sure if they're in order. Maybe it's back at the top here. It's actually economic hardship.
Oh, yeah. I see. I remember that. Yeah, here, this paragraph. Recently, economic hardship. Economic hardship.
In this one?
Next sentence. Recent.
Economic hardship. There you go. Yep. Gosh, I feel like I'm blind today. So financial difficulty, economic hardship. Okay. The money left over after all bills have been paid.
Tip. It's easy, this one.
Actually, that's not correct.
The money left over, really, after all bills have been paid.
That becomes your disposable income. Disposable.
Left over after.
Okay, so that's money. So that's your disposable income. You make money every month because of work. You make money. That's income. Now the money that's left over is disposable. So it kind of, you know, you get it 1 month, you use it, you spend it, then you get it again, and then you use it, you spend it. Does that make sense? A little, not really.
Over after. Just a little bit confused.
All right. Well, don't worry about that. Maybe we can talk about this next time.
Okay, sure.
Let's look at this. To argue about a price in order to reduce it.
Yeah, it has.
There you go. Good. Hegel. What about dependent?
Rely on.
Oh, you're close there. It's on the next page. I didn't want that. Reliant.
Oh, reliant.
You were close there, Elle. And then encouragement.
Encouragement. Support.
Incentive is the word I'm looking for. Incentive. So, yep. So your incentive, you know, if you sell this car, your incentive is, you know, something else. And so that's your encouragement. That's your motivation here. So, well, fantastic. That worked out pretty well today. Rafa has joined the class. I'm sorry I didn't see it until now. I was on the other side there. So.
I was thinking it was beginning to 4 o'clock.
No, ending at 4 o'clock. Sorry, Rafa. Glad that you could make it. Let me stop sharing my screen here, and you should be able to see me in a second when my video decides to turn on. There I am. So, fantastic. Well, that's the end of our class for today about customers always right, and actually a conversation class about this. Maybe a different time would be nice as a little recap of what we talked about. But Rafa, you're more than welcome to watch this after I stop this in about 2 seconds. You can watch this, okay? And it's from the same website that you got in the room. So let me stop